for having me. As always, I'm always so appreciative of the Ocean City Library for hosting me. I love being here, and it's always a great group of participants with wonderful comments and questions. So I welcome your input and I'm going to ask for it as we move through the presentation. So thank you all for being here. Happy New Year. Um, the 8 components of wellness is our topic tonight. And I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping things. Julie's going to open a poll for us. And this poll is really important. It gives us some demographic information, allows us to know who we're serving, how we can do things better. So if you could answer those questions, it would be very, very helpful to us. We are federally funded, and so it's important information for us to get. As you're answering the poll, I'll just go over a few things. Oh, not advancing. There we go. Rutgers Cooperative Extension, for those people that don't know, is part of Rutgers University. And Rutgers University is an equal opportunity employer and institution. Rutgers Cooperative Extension, like I said, is part of Rutgers, but it's also part of the Rutgers, New Jersey Agricultural Experiment Station. And we are a land grant university. So what that means is that we have cooperative extension throughout New Jersey in every county. And within those counties, those 21 counties in New Jersey, we have staff or faculty in all 21 of the counties. And we are composed of 3 different departments in cooperative extension. We consist of agriculture and natural resources, 4-H, and Family and Community Health Sciences, which is FCHS, and that's the department that I work for. In FCHS, we work on giving you information on wellness, like we're talking about tonight, nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and physical activity. We hope that you'll visit our website. I have some that'll be at the end of the presentation that you can look at, and then you can go. There's videos, recipes, all kinds of information there, upcoming events that you can check out. So I hope that you will do that for us. Also, my contact information will be on there, and I always encourage you to email me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to hear from people, especially during this time of COVID when it's really difficult to have contact with one another. So it's always nice to have contact from the audience and know that everybody is participating and has questions and is eager to learn more. As Julie said, I am Chris Zellers, and I am with Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Cape May County. And my position there is as an educator. I'm an assistant professor. And I like to teach a lot about wellness, as you'll see here tonight. I also do a lot about physical activity, do a lot around seafood. Obviously, being in Cape May County, that's a great topic, but it's really needed throughout the country. So, check out what we have on those websites, like I said. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 8 components of wellness, and there's 3 objectives for the conversation. First, we're going to look at the definition of wellness. And then we're going to look at 8 different components of wellness, and we're going to explore those a little bit. And then finally, we're going to talk about areas to create wellness in your life and how you can actually put those 8 components into effect for yourself. But before we talk about the definition of wellness and we get into that, I'd really like to hear what you think wellness is. So if you could just put in the chat for me. I stopped doing this for a while because people were all zoomed out, and I don't blame you, but I'm kind of zoomed out this week. I had a 12-hour Zoom event for our annual conference, which was lovely, but it was a lot of Zooming. So I want to know if somebody's on the other end of the line with me. So put in the chat, if you would, what your one word that you would use to consider wellness to be. What do you think wellness is in one word? And I'll read them out as we go down the line here. Mind and body, well-being, good health, healthy living. They're all great answers. Being in good health, vitality. I like that one. Healthy. Anybody else have any? Self-awareness. That's a good one. Healthy life, fitness, balance. Good. These are all good ones. Mental, physical, and emotional health. Good. And you know what? You're all right. you're all doing good. You're all on the right track. Good fitness and mental health, right? Great. Yeah, they're all really good answers. And you'll see as we go through the definitions here, how you are actually right about all of this and how, wellness came about way back when. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. First, I want to pull up on the screen. This is the link that Julie put into the chat in the beginning of the conversation. And I'd very much like it if you would be so kind as to go here at the end of the presentation. If you want to hold your phone up and open the photo, open your camera, hold it up to that QR code, it'll open it right up on your phone for you. So it's easy peasy. It literally, I tried it today. It takes like 2 minutes to do this at the very most. And this year, I so want you to fill out these surveys for me that I am implementing a prize. So anybody that's interested in winning the prize that fills out the evaluation, I don't know your answer, so you can answer any way you want. It's completely anonymous. I will get your email that if you fill your email address out at the end of the questionnaire, I'll get that and I'll enter you into a drawing. The drawings are going to be based on a semester basis. So we're in the winter semester at Rutgers right now. So you'll be entered in to be one of the people that are lucky enough to win. And if you are, for filling that out, I will contact you by email and reach out so I can get you that prize. Okay. So thank you in advance for doing that for me. I appreciate it. All right, let's get down to business. So wellness is a word that's used in various ways in the US right now. Currently, wellness might sometimes describe physical health or mental health, which some of you put into the chat. But wellness is a combination of a balance in a person's life that supports a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits in all areas of their life. So all those things you named together pretty much would mean wellness. As early as 1947, the WHO, or World Health Organization, not Roger Daltrey, yeah, not them, the World Health Organization, identified wellness as physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease. So it was all those things, and not just being disease-free, but also having that physical, mental, and social well-being. Today, there's many organizations, businesses, and coaches out there, and they tout wellness. And there's credibility to this because it's a big business in wellness. But I'm going to tell you tonight, you don't have to hire a wellness coach. You don't have to do all those things and pay money. You can be well on your own. You just have to look at these different components of wellness and figure out how you can have them help you mindfully balance them out. And really, being mindful is being aware of things. So when I use that word mindfully or mindfulness, I'm telling you to, all those other distractions that are in your life, and we all have a ton of them, you're taking time out to say, okay, I'm going to mindfully think about what I'm going to eat. I'm not just going to sit and munch on a bag of chips. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to say, what is going to be the best option for my body right now to give it the nutrients it needs. So that's being mindful. To achieve the balance in a person's life, you're going to need to be aware of the components of wellness. And it doesn't mean just doing yoga every day. Yoga's great. Don't get me wrong. I love yoga. But it's rather understanding what brings that personal fulfillment and peace of mind to you to have a sense of wellness. Wellness may look different for everybody on this call, even Julie and I, I'm sure it's very different for the two of us hosting this webinar tonight. So you want to make sure that you are aware of it, that it's something that's giving you peace of mind. You also want to talk about, the various components in your life to yourself. Think about, okay, I'm balanced in this area. How am I doing in the other area? So let's take a look now at what those different components are. I'm going to start out with just telling you what they are. Then we're going to get a little bit more in depth, like I said, and then we're going to go on to talk about how you might be able to actually add them into your life. So in 1961, H.L. Dunn, who's known for his research and development around wellness, established the proponents of wellness, such as the ones that are coming up here on the left. They're going to be popping up as I click. SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Association, expanded upon Dunn's ideas and adapted Starwick's components of wellness to establish that wellness can be defined by not the lack of something, but the presence of something. Some very positive things. Dunn identifies first in his definition of wellness as optimal physical and behavioral health, as you can see there, showing that physical health and mental health are considered equal, and they really should be considered equal because, as we well know now, if you're not mentally well, it could make you physically ill and vice versa. So we want to make sure that we recognize that they are equally as important components. Often when we place value on the physical health, we might neglect the mental health. And that can contribute largely, like I said, to that imbalance. You want to make sure you have both of them considered in one area. Next, Dunn identifies the purpose in life as the key component. So having that purpose and being, oh, sorry, I went the wrong way. Having a purpose in life and being fulfilled. And that really means not just personally, but in work and play, like all around, so that you feel fulfilled. Dunn cites a need for a strong relationship. And then he also notes happiness as one of the key components. So if you think about the information that Dunn credited to happiness back in 1961, and then you look at this graph that I put up on the screen that is modeled from SAMHSA, you can see that there's more components, there's 8 of them, and that the foundation that Dunn created for these is really what SAMHSA is attributing these to. And these are physical, emotional, social, professional, intellectual, spiritual, environmental, and financial. And, if you think about that, I have the little arrow going around in a circle there. You really want to make sure that they're all fulfilled and balanced, but they might not all be at the same time. So don't stress out if they're not all balanced at the same time. Again, have that awareness and try to find ways to balance them out. Dunn's end, like I said, Dunn ended his list with happiness. And as we talk today, think about your happiness in all these areas. Think about how you recognize happiness, what makes you happy in these areas, and might not always be possible, but you can try to balance them out. Also, not just physical and mental well-being, but achieving balance in all of the areas. Because I think sometimes when we think of wellness, a lot of people did put that in the chat, and that I think of when I think of wellness right away is that physical and mental component. But it's not just that; it's having happiness in these other areas as well, or fulfillment, as I said, in these other areas as well. So let's break them down. Let's take them apart a little bit and try to figure out how we're doing, what we might be missing. I'm going to, like I said, name some of them here, but then we're going to go a little further and dig a little deeper and hopefully give you some ideas about what will make it easier for you to fulfill these areas. So to create physical wellness, you should realize the need for physical activity, which would be obvious, right? If I'd asked you, you probably would have said that right away. Also quality sleep and nutrition by eating nutritious food. This should include having a general practitioner that you see regularly, or at least getting an annual checkup. And seeing a doctor is really critical in maintaining good physical health. And I think that's something that's overlooked a lot in our society, but it is important. It's very important to have that preventative medicine and those markers ahead of time. So getting that, at least that annual check-in, very minimum annual checkup is important. In early wellness studies, it was noted that nutrition and physical activity were overlooked for some of the other components by those surveyed. However, now wellness is more associated with physical activity and proper nutrition. As we move through all 8 of the components, we'll look at more areas besides physical and mental health, and we'll talk about ways to achieve these areas of wellness later as well. The keys to maintaining emotional health and wellness and good relationships in your life are really important. You really need to have people that are there to support you. They're on your side, they're your cheerleaders, because they're going to help your emotional health. It's important to recognize your strengths too. What are you strong at? Not everybody's going to be great at everything, but recognize your strengths, take advantage of them. And that's going to help you to achieve good emotional wellness. And then having a support system, like I said, not just in relationships, but somebody that shares common thoughts with you and feelings. It's important to stay emotionally well also. It's always good to have a little bit of combat in your life once in a while to keep you on your toes, I guess, but you want to make sure it's healthy combat that, if you're interacting with somebody, you respect each other so that you feel emotionally sound and stable, and they're not draining your cup. Okay. They're not taken away from you. Socially, it's important to have a good support system, like I said, and it's important to feel connected and have a sense of belonging to something. Being a part of a social interaction will assist you in maintaining a good, healthy social attitude and to stay well overall. Keep in contact and try to socialize with supportive family and friends and coworkers. If there's somebody in the workplace that maybe you don't have the best relationship with, or the dynamic's not so good, maybe you want to try to, not avoid it. Obviously you're working with the person, but either change or develop that relationship, or maybe have a relationship that's a little more supportive. Same with your personal life, same kind of thing. You want to have that support in that area. Make at least one connection socially every day, especially now. I was just talking to my mom the other day, and she said, I really have realized, as we're starting to have a lot more surge and COVID, how disconnected I am from all my friends. She's not doing her volunteer work anymore. She's not reaching out on the telephone. And those connections are really important to us and our well-being. We're social people for the most part. So, you want to make sure that you try to connect by email or text or give a call or get on a Zoom with family. Go visit somebody if you can, but try to stay connected. When you're able to, if you could join a clubs, a social club of some sort, something you like doing, a book club or volunteering or something like that, can really make you feel connected and help you enjoy life to achieve that wellness area. Also, then when we move over to the professional area, getting personal satisfaction and enrichment from where you work and your hobbies will make you feel fulfilled. And this is really important too. If you have a job that's really demanding, make sure you take breaks. Even if you don't have a job that's really demanding, make sure you take breaks. Give that to yourself. Make that something you do towards your wellness, taking that break. Take a meal break. They give them to you for a reason. And also, if you can, take a walk break to clear your head. I know for me, I'm really, really bad. I'm very guilty of not taking that meal break. I keep going and I keep thinking, oh, if I could just get this done, then I'll be that much more ahead. But guess what? A lot of times the bottom of the list never comes. And then you're likely to get burnt out professionally. So it's important to take those breaks. It's important to keep we talked a lot today. I told you I was in a conference this week. We talked a lot about work-family balance or work-life balance, and that's important. You have to recognize that balance to keep your professional well-being intact. Then you definitely want to make sure that you are taking care in your professional areas as well. Go easy on yourself and get support when you need it. We all need to throw in the flag sometime and say, hey, I need help, and let your employer know that. Or if you're volunteering, even sometimes the volunteers are the most overworked people because they're good. They're there for a reason. They want to be there, but they're taken advantage of. So, know when to say when, and take care of yourself so that you're happy. And realize, again, like I said earlier, everybody makes mistakes. If you make a professional mistake, recognize it, own it, and just try to move on from it so that work isn't giving you unwanted stress, but rather giving you fulfillment. If you cannot get fulfillment in your work life professionally, if you don't feel like you have the capacity to do that, then maybe you want to look into something where you can volunteer or have a hobby that will give you that fulfillment that way. People generally know that what their own intellectual abilities are, but taking note of that and recognizing it and being able to expand upon it and learn new things is really important to feel engaged. So that intellectual concept is really important. I mean, let's face it, we're never too old to learn, or too young to learn something new. There's always the ability to learn something. We have so many tools at our access now. You all are here learning tonight, which is, Cooperative Extension has all kinds of learning opportunities if you're looking for something new to expand yourself, but always try to be engaged in learning new things. And when you find an interest, try to learn more about that interest. If it's something that really compels you, if you find pleasure from reading and that, challenges you intellectually, then do that as well to expand your knowledge. Look at new places to discover ways to expand your mind and challenge it. County colleges, ACCC down here in Cape May County and Atlanta County, they have great adult education that can really expand your knowledge in the area and interest that you might have. So look into that if that's something that will, maybe help you to expand your intellect and keep using your mind over the years. Make you feel, complete or fulfilled. There's always something I think that somebody wants to learn. I hear people say, I always wanted to learn that. So take advantage of it, go for it. No time like the present. And then a lot of times when I bring up the spiritual aspect of wellness, people think that it means religion. It can mean religion, and that's great if it does, because spirituality in religion is obviously, key, and people recognize that right away. But it can also mean being in nature, or it can mean meditation from practicing yoga, but it doesn't have to be religion. So you find a way to connect to things in a spiritual way, and that's important for your own self and well-being and grounding yourself. As you determine your spiritual practices, think about making connections to the practices, whether it's from studying them or creating a relationship with others who practice the same method. So maybe if it's yoga, trying to make a connection with somebody that thinks alike in the spirituality, or if it is going to church, being part of a Bible study or something like that, where you have that connectivity. Making these new connections and sharing time with those that have similar things, minded things, can be healthy for you, and that's important to keep you feeling well and healthy. Practicing being kind to others is really important too, and that's going to support your sense of spirituality. But remember, being kind to yourself will make you feel more relaxed and fulfilled. And I just did I'm going to put in the chat right now, I just did a talk last week on setting resolutions to be healthy, for better healthy resolutions. I just did a talk on that last week. I just put the link to that if you'd like to view it. And I talk a lot in that one about being kind to yourself. I think we're kind to we're always, think about how you talk to your best friend, right? You wouldn't necessarily talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself, sometimes that downing self-talk. So think about that in a spiritual aspect too, about the kindness that you can bring to yourself. How can you be kind to yourself and feel more fulfilled that way? And one study done on yoga as a stress reduction in breast cancer patients, Kramer et al. Found that regular yoga practice did not replace traditional medicine. However, it found yoga to be more effective than no therapy in improving quality of life and reducing fatigue and sleep disturbances. So you can see that, all of this kind of has an impact on the other. And, your spirituality can help you with closing everything down at night and having that ability to quiet down. I know for me, I started doing mindful meditation, and I'm going to be doing a talk on that on the 27th for a lunch and learn at the end of the month, and giving some pointers on that. And that has been really helpful for my spirituality and being able to quiet myself down at night. So, great way to go. Also, down in the corner there, it says establish beliefs and values for yourself. So that spirituality might be, saying, this is what I believe in. I'm going to do that because it's good, healthy, make sure it's a good, positive thing for yourself, and use that to be part of your spiritual practice as well. Next, we have environmental. So health is very much supported by our surroundings, and use the environment you're in to make sure wellness is achieved. And this can be require some changes in your life, maybe, but taking time to create a good, healthy environment in your life is really worth the effort. Try to make sure your surroundings are organized and free of clutter. If you take that time to get rid of things that you don't need, you'll likely feel lighter and enjoy your environment more. Think about giving things away that you don't need to a friend or charity. So that makes you feel good, because the things are not just being thrown away, they're being recycled. And that helps with the environment, not just in your immediate environment, like your house, but the entire environment. Take time to enjoy outside surroundings too. And this can really contribute to your spirituality. And again, think about how these are all kind of interconnected and flowing. But having that time to really think about, being in nature, getting fresh air sometimes, especially being inside so much in the wintertime, sometimes I just go open the door and take a couple nice deep breaths in. They say that if you take 7 to 10 deep breaths in, it gets the endorphins flowing. Go outside, take in the fresh air. I know it's cold right now, throw a sweater on or something, but that can really help you, just that fresh air in nature. But being in nature, making that environment around nature or something that you enjoy could be really helpful and calming for you in your overall wellness. Financial wellness means finding a sense of satisfaction from not only your current finances, but your future finances. So having the ability to think down the line and think, okay, I'm going to be okay, because my finances will be okay, not just now, but in the future. Make sure to find ways to spend your money and budget your money that are creative. So that may involve a spreadsheet of what you have spent or what you'd like to spend or what you'd like to save. And talking maybe to friends about how they save money or how they spend their money in a saving way. There's also resources that can guide you in meeting financial goals, such as apps. And there's also financial resources from people and services, some of which may be at low or no cost, that you can seek to maintain good financial health. Setting financial goals is really important to create financial well-being. And so, sometimes it's really hard to think about what our future may look like, but it's important to think about finances in the future. So when you get to the future, your wellness circle is being completed in that area. Find ways to, whether it's putting change in a jar to opening a savings account to save for the future. And if you don't have a plan for saving for the future, then talk to someone or research how you would like to do that so that you can save and have peace of mind, not just now, but in the future. And it's important to set goals and, around this so that you have some security around it. Goal setting, sometimes it can be hard. I saw a thing today about, if you ask people in 2016 where they'd be in 5 years for their 5-year goal, many of them probably would have got it wrong because things have changed so much. But having some type of goal so that you can strive towards that or meet that goal can be very rewarding and make you feel very fulfilled. Okay, so now that we've identified all 8 areas of wellness and we've kind of talked a little bit about them, and you realize ways to maintain or create wellness in your life, we're going to discuss the 8 components and pointers on how to achieve overall wellness. And I could go on, this could be, a 10-hour lecture, it could go on forever. I'm just trying to give you some pointers here. Some might apply, some might not. Some might be good to offer to a friend, or some, you might be able to build off. But let's look at some more ways to achieve wellness and wellness balance. Physical activity, as I said, is physical wellness. As I said, is more than just eating healthy. Your body needs to move. So make sure to engage in regular movement. Movement that you enjoy is important to keep it, you doing that. And you want to try changing what you do for physical activity and mix up your exercise a little bit so you're not always doing the same thing. If you're not interested in something, then how much are you going to do it? You're not. So try to mix it up. Try to keep, doing some cardiovascular exercise and mixing in stretching and weight bearing exercise so that you have a lot of different opportunities to feel good about yourself. One of my New Year's resolutions was to add more stretching in because I do exercise, but I'm not good at stretching because it's like one of those things I think like lunch, like, oh, I'm going to keep going because I don't have time for that. But I'll be honest, it's really made a difference. So look at what your physical activity is and see if you can add some of those other areas in to make you feel balanced and achieve that physical activity or that physical well-being that we're talking about tonight. And when you eat nutritious foods, you're really contributing to your physical wellness as well. And that supports your ability to be physically active. So make sure to try to avoid sugary and fatty foods, the bad fats, not the good ones. I have a lecture on that. It's on the website too, if you'd like to see that. And you want to eat a diet that's rich in whole grains, lean proteins, and lots of fruits and vegetables. A well-balanced diet and physical activity can support better quality sleep too. And sleep's really important and is really part of that whole physical area of wellness because it may not be on one of the other components that we're talking about today, but it's really hard to be successful in anything you do if you don't have good sleep. So think of it in the physical and remember that chart and think, if I don't have enough sleep, then emotionally, I'm not going to feel good. Socially, I'm going to want to go home and go to bed. So I'm not going to be very social. It's going to affect my professional life. So again, it all goes around in this circle and sleep is an important part of that component for getting physical well-being or wellness. And again, website has a talk about sleep on that you can view if you would like. And I'm going to give you the website at the end so that you can all check that out. Let's see, where are we? So to achieve good physical wellness, you want to create a plan to break these areas apart. Maybe start with moving more and then add a healthier diet after you've conquered moving more. You really don't have to do everything at once, and having a starting point and building on that to achieve physical wellness is really the way to go. you bite off more than you can chew, and it just goes down downhill really quick. So like I said, I did the presentation I did last week that I put in the chat, in that one for building better health resolutions. I talked about the SMART goal, to set yourself up for success when you're making goals and changing things to be, have these wellness components match. And the acronym for the SMART goal stands for specific, measured, attainable, realistic, and timely. So if you want to do something new, if you want to add physical activity, or you want to add eating more, don't dive in and do it all at once. You can if you think you can, do that all, but it's really easier to break it down into these increments, set something that's specific, make sure that it's measured out, and go through that SMART activity to try to figure out and make sure that you're doing it in such a way that you will be successful. In the area of emotional wellness, make sure you don't, what you're good at, like I said before, and ways that you can do things that you can do to improve yourself. Always try to be aware of your feelings and find a trusted person to share those feelings with. If you're involved in an unhealthy relationship, seek one that's more beneficial. And I know that's really easy to say, but it's probably better for you and the other person as well. And, if you need to, seek professional help about those things. Having a support system is really, really important, and knowing who those people are that you can talk to, either friends or family member, or somebody outside your traditional group to help you when needed. It's important to know that you have somebody that you feel supported, and that's going to make you have that, that emotional component of wellness really complete for you, because you have that lifeboat or that person or people that make you feel better. And like I've said before, mental health is still health. It's not to be neglected. It's something that is to be taken seriously. And, you need to be emotionally strong. You need to find ways that, you can build off of your strengths and your relationships and be in a good place. A relationship that's emotionally unstable, again, I'm going to say it, seek professional help if you need it, or if you're emotionally feeling unwell. There's a lot of people right now that are not feeling emotionally well. We're going through a lot of really tough times. And I think it's important to note that, if you were having heart pains or chest pains, you'd go to the doctor. So if you're having pains emotionally that you don't feel like your mental health is as well as it should be, then you really should seek professional help. And it's just as important as going to the cardiologist for a chest pain. Excuse me. Social is the next component. And as you can, you've seen in these areas, they're still overlapping a lot. So for instance, to be social, you need to be in good physical health so you can get out and interact with others, obviously. Likewise, your emotional health requires good supportive relationships for social interactions. This is true over all 8 components, and they need to flow to achieve that balance, as we talked about earlier in the presentation. And like I said, getting out there, finding that social interaction, kind of finding ways. We've moved a lot in our lives, and in order for me to get out, I've joined groups. I've been part of a scrapbooking group. I've done a mommy crew team. I've done all kinds of different things when we've moved to new places, just because it gives me that chance to have that social interaction. So find a way, something you love to do. It might fit in with that professional or hobby area, but find a way to be socially interacting. And there's lots of volunteer opportunities out there everywhere you go. Professional wellness means finding satisfaction in what you're doing. If you're retired, and then find ways to volunteer that may make you feel good, like a club or something like that, or volunteer at the library. My mom does that. She volunteers at the museum. And so, it makes her feel really fulfilled. They have a nice little unit of friends there that they all work together, and there are definitely things out there that you can do. If you don't feel like you have professional wellness and you can't change it because you can't leave your job, then try to do the volunteer thing on your spare time to make you feel well. Maybe if you like gardening, you go and volunteer to be, garden somewhere, to fix up a park or something like that. And I will do a little plug. Rutgers Cooperative Extension has something called Master Gardeners, and that involves them teaching you how to be all the different things you need to do to be a really great gardener. And then you volunteer your time after you've learned that. So you get out in the community that way. So that's a great opportunity to do something like that. Try looking at intellectual component of wellness to expand your knowledge and see how that can cross from that component into the professional component. Before I mentioned do it at your own pace, try to see, what's going to fit in there. I went on a really nice vacation back in October with my husband, and I saw that I was really stressed. I hadn't been using my PTO, and we got away, we were away long, but I realized just how stressed out I was. So use that vacation time, use that PTO, use those personal days, use that lunch time, go for a walk if you can, or just go stand at the door and open it. Take that break professionally as you need it. And I think working in the pandemic, it's been harder for us all to get away, to do the things we love. And sometimes that is around the professionalness too, getting away from that. So it again folds in there. Intellectual wellness is really important. It's not just when you're young, but at every age. I try to learn a couple new things a week. And that's a good way to expand your intellectual abilities and your intellectual wellness. And when you're seeking intellectual expansion, consider learning something new that you may be interested in. Even if it's not for career advancement, it could serve to make you feel more fulfilled and intellectually well. Think about learning in a new trade or craft if it's something you've always wanted to do. And as I mentioned before, the county colleges or an art class or something like that could be really of interest. Try to find folks to share time that will expand your intellectual well-being as well. So, find those people in that niche that, you can have a good conversation with. Spiritually doesn't always mean religion. I did say that before, but finding a way to connect with what you believe in and ways to move away from our hectic lifestyle is really, really critical right now to achieving spiritual wellness. Taking time to decompress or quiet yourself every day can contribute to your spiritual well-being. Meditation, like I said before, is one way to do it. There's lots of free places to learn how to meditate. I'm going to share a follow-up email with you. I already have it ready that has some free meditation links that can, walk guided meditations that can walk you through meditating if you want to give that a try. And I will say this, I've noticed a really big difference at 3:00 in the afternoon. That's like my downtime. So if I take 10 minutes to do a quick meditation, I can pop right back up and I am so much more productive. So that brain quiet, that spiritually quieting your brain is really, really healthy and advantageous for us. Yoga also can help with your spiritual wellness as well as physical wellness. So again, interlapping with those components. Some people find that spiritual wellness from walking in nature or taking pictures in nature. I love to do that too. Take time to see what works for you. And again, it's up to every individual. I can't tell you everything to do. I'm just giving you suggestions from what the literature says, from things I've tried and experienced, from things people have shared with me that they've tried and experienced. And I think that no idea is a bad idea. Give it a try and see what can help for you. Again, environment's not always living in a beachside home, although for many of us it could be, especially here in Cape May County. It is more of the environment you exist in. So living in a cluttered home, as I said, can make you feel emotionally unwell. I am one of those people that having the clutter just makes it does not sit well with me. And it actually, like after I do something to declutter, I feel so relieved. It's like a weight is lifted off of me. So if you're living in circumstances, whether it's your desk at work, so professionally it's cluttered, or something at home is cluttered, then take that time to make that environment less cluttered so that you're living in a more healthy environment that makes you feel more stable and better under control. Finally, financial is the last component. And again, as with all the other components, this one can really overlap with the other areas. So for instance, if your professional situation may not allow for financial wellness and maybe even your emotional wellness. So when they're out of balance, they could be knocking the other components out of balance as well. So there's programs both free and for a cost that you can seek that could help you to achieve better financial wellness. I know that there's a lot of extension programs. If you were to search cooperative extension, financial, well-being, I'm sure that there's a lot of those things out there too. from different cooperative extensions. We have some things here, some fact sheets here at Cooperative Extension for Rutgers as well. So if you're not feeling well in the areas, it's really important to design a plan, to seek help from someone that has knowledge in this area so that you can become more financially well and feel grouped together. All right, so those are our 8 components of wellness. I know it was a lot. I said some things a couple times because I was really trying to drive them home. And I hope that that was helpful for you. Before we end the presentation tonight, I just want to remind you, if you want to win that prize, go ahead and scan that QR code in and take that questionnaire, add your email address in at the end of the questionnaire, and we will be entering you for a drawing to be able to win possibly a prize from completing that. And if you attend another one of my presentations, I'll do this again. We're going to keep putting everybody in and see, pull a couple people out to win throughout the semester. And I'm going to check really quick. Yeah, Julie is going to put another link in the box, in the chat room here. And in that link is to all of our Wellness Wednesday presentations. If you haven't joined us for a Wellness Wednesday with FCHS, they're every Wednesday, obviously. And they are encompassing all the different topics we talked about tonight. So there's financial information on them. There's, diabetes information there. We cover all the different topics you can think about when it comes to being physically, emotionally, socially, professionally, spiritually, environmentally, financially, and intellectually well. We cover all of those. So if you want to join us, that link she put in, there's also a recording. So like I said, that recording that I just did for the resolutions for better health, that's in there. There's one from last week that this week actually on soup. So if you're looking for some neat things to do for lunches, check out Daryl's soup presentation that was up there. And there's a list of the new ones that are going to be coming up, and there's all the recordings there that you could check out. So there's a lot of really good resources there for you to maintain that overall wellness. Okay, so as the first slide indicated, and as shown in this diagram again, the cycle of wellness in these 8 areas are really interrelated, and each aspect affects the next. So balancing them is hard. I'm not going to say that this is going to come really easily. It could take a little bit of time and practice. But if you're lacking in one area, take time to focus on improving that area. So for instance, if socially you feel isolated right now, then take some time to expand social relationships in your intellectual or social area. And that may really create the balance that you're craving right now or searching for. So if you say, okay, socially, I'm not feeling connected, what can I do to fix that? You're really the only person that can fix that, right? So maybe say, okay, I'm going to call a friend. I'm going to call so many people a day. I remember when the shutdown back in March 2020 happened, I was feeling really isolated. When I taught, I looked at the screen. There was nobody there. I'm used to seeing your wonderful faces, shaking, laughing, nodding, no, all those reactions. I couldn't see anybody. I still can't see anybody. But I decided, okay, I'm going to reach out to people. So I started reaching out, like I put my cousins all in a group chat, and I just wrote something funny that our grandparents used to do. And that got the whole conversation, like I was just thinking when Pop used to do this, and everybody started contributing in. And then I went from that, we started having Friday night Zoom happy hours with my friends from high school. And every week somebody would invite somebody new. So there was people there that we haven't seen for 10 or 15 years. And it was great. So there's ways that you can be apart if you have to still be apart, but be with other people. So think about them. And even if you're not locked down, think about those people that you haven't talked to for a while, maybe, and try to reconnect or reach out to somebody else so that you're not feeling socially isolated. Being physically active has been shown to improve mental health, and that can really create a balance, not only in your physical area, but in your emotional area, which is important. If you feel financially secure, then socially, you're probably going to be more stable as well. Keep these facets of wellness in mind. And if you feel unwell, examine the areas you might not be achieving your personal wellness needs and goals in, and try to focus in on them and figure out ways that you can do that. And no one's going to achieve that personal wellness for you. You're going to have to do it for yourself. And again, it's unique to you. So it's something that is only for you, and you need to figure out ways to do it, but I know you can. So as we're closing out tonight, if you want to put, if you feel free, you don't have to, but if you'd like to put in the chat any questions that you have, or drop in the chat, I'm sorry, please don't. Oh, okay, I understand. Somebody said, please don't encourage us to do the survey during the presentation because we're missing information. I agree with you, and you're free to hold on to that. You can pull it up. That's why I give it to you. If you pull it up now, then you can go and do it later. I don't want you to miss anything either, and I appreciate that comment. But I'm having a really hard time getting people to fill them out, like 0 people or 2 people are filling them out in classes of 200. So I really need to get them filled out. And that's why I've been so encouraging of them today. So I hope that you will take a minute to fill it out, and I hope it didn't interrupt too much. I apologize. Also, if you want to put in the chat what you think you're going to work on, what's going to be your first goal on wellness, what area do you think you want to work on first? What would be, I know, I think mine's going to be social because I feel pretty locked down again. So I might have to go back to some of those, resorting back to what I was doing before during lockdown to get in touch with people, taking more breaks. I love that. And again, I've honestly put taking a lunch break on my New Year's resolution list for like 5 years now. So I'm not doing well, but that's a great one. I wish you success. Social and good health, good. Your physical health, good. Be more mindful in all areas. Yeah, you know, and it's hard. I think sometimes breaking it down is a little bit easier. I did a lot. I've done counseling for nutrition. I've done counseling for smoking cessation. And I think that, you know, sometimes you just got to break it down a little bit and then help you to get to the overall reaching goal, reaching out to family more. I like that goal a lot. Yeah, it's hard to stay in touch, and it's fun to stay in touch. We had such a good time when I reached out to my cousins that time. We were laughing. What else? Breaking it down. What do I mean by breaking it down? So look at there's 8 different components here. So if you look at all 8 and say, I need to do them all, it's probably going to be a little overwhelming, right? So I would always, when we were doing nutrition counseling or we were doing smoking cessation, no matter what it was, set a goal, maybe make one goal a week. Okay. My goal this week is I'm not going to eat sugary snacks for 3 days, you know, so it's obtainable. And you'll see, like I mentioned with the SMART tactics, it's SMART, you know, it's measurable. What is that measure of that goal? How are you going to do that? Break it down into little tiny compartments so that it's easier to achieve overall, and build off of that. So, you know, I used to sometimes with the smoking cessation, I would say, okay, if you think you need to cut down to 3 a day, let's do that. And then we'll get down to 0 a day or whatever we have to do. So break it down into something that is realistic for you and that you're going to obtain. Focusing more on strength and strength building and exercise and physical activity. Yeah, that was actually one of mine too this year, is doing the strength training. Trying to get more of that in. You know, they recommend for adults to have 150 minutes or more of physical activity a week, plus 2 days of weight-bearing exercise. So that's, you know, an area with the stretching is a great thing to add, the weight-bearing thing, because sometimes we go one direction or the other, and it's hard to balance that all out, but doing a little bit at a time can be really helpful. Just that these are my references that I use. And I just want to put up as we're talking. This is an example of where you can reach us. There's many places to find us. Oh, I realized I don't have I'm going to put my email in the chat. I thought that was on this one. We have here the Cape May Cooperative Extension for those of you in Cape May that want to see what we're doing in Cape May County. Like I said, it has all the different programs on there, and you can check out some of the recordings we've done for education as well. And I just put my email in the chat. So if anybody needs to email me after the program. And then we also have some information there about the lawn and garden program. We have the second one down is the statewide NEA FCS for Rutgers. And that is information that will have recipes on it and all kinds of things, as well as those Wellness Wednesday. It'll have those fact sheets that I mentioned on there as well. Okay, so somebody asked me, let me just, Yeah, so somebody asked if we're gonna have, you guys are popping them in there quickly. I'm trying to keep up. I don't want to miss anybody. I'm gonna send a link to this program out afterwards, so you'll get a copy of the recording as soon as they get a chance to download it, and then they have to put it in YouTube. So as soon as that happens, we'll get that to you. And also I'll be sending you the meditation sites so that you have those as a resource. If you want to go, they're free. So you can check those out as well if that's something you're interested in. Somebody suggested hours per week for exercise. So for an adult, it's 150 minutes per week. And 2 of the days should include weight bearing exercise. So it doesn't have to be only 150. I always like to say minutes. It could be more than 150 minutes, but it's 150 minutes per week. And for children, it should be 60 minutes a day. So the little guys should be out there moving more than we do. Oh, yep, I'll put Julie did it. Thank you. My email went back in. Somebody asked for that. All right, great. Let me just make sure I didn't miss. Julie, do you see any I missed? Thank you so much for participating and being involved with writing in the chat tonight, because that was going to the wayside for me and I wanted to get back into it this year. And it's been hard to be away from everybody. And I did my first in-person class in December, and then we had to stop doing them this month. So I'm really sad because I thought this was going to be. Well, thank you all. And you'll be getting an email from me with more information. It'll also have that link to the evaluation if you could take time to fill it out if you haven't already.